Hey guys, welcome back to Breaking the Barrier. Today we are in for a real treat. I'm joined by BJ Jamison. He is a Nebraska Sandhills native, a self taught musician, and a country recording artist who is gaining more and more traction by the day. BJ, thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So, I think you have a really cool story, and I'm excited to dig deeper into your roots and what you've been up to recently. But to start, give us a glimpse as to what younger BJ was like and kind of when you first decided that music was a pretty cool deal.
Um, Mainly it was a lot of just kind of grew up on the road with my parents and siblings. Rodeo and is the main thing, and then eventually I got a hold of a guitar and started hitting on that, and then it just kind of took itself.
Awesome. So, how old were you when you first started playing the guitar?
I think I was probably 13 or 14 when I first started, and then kind of progressed from there and actually learned that I kind of want to try it a little more and got my own, and then
Awesome.
kind of took off.
So your mom plays the guitar as well. Did she was she the one who gave you your first guitar, or like where did that come from?
Nope, that was so my sister Brooke, she played guitar all her life. And so when she was gone for college, she I didn't figure she would know if I played her guitar while she was gone. So that's kind of where I got that guitar from, and then eventually I started finding a little more knack for it and got my own after a while, and then I ended up teaching my mom bass.
Very cool. So once you started learning to play and getting better and better, when did you start to play in front of other people?
That was kind of at the we were at Cherry County Fair and just messing around, and Brett Burris was there with his Cobb family band playing, and I was watching them for a while, admiring pretty much how they played the same music that I had figured out how to play. And then I just asked him if I could get up and play one, and he had me come up and play. And then the next week, he invited me to Cody, Nebraska for the Fireman's Ball.
Big time
Yeah.
for sure. So from there, I know you were part of the Twin River Band, which was a very popular band across the Nebraska Sandhills and beyond. When did you start playing consistent gigs with them, and how did that come to be?
I mean, it started pretty much shortly after I got with them. I started playing very, just pretty much wherever they went, I would go to, but it's never old enough, so my mom was driving me. So, and then, I mean, that just kind of hit off. We were playing every weekend, maybe a couple times every weekend.
Awesome. So you're on stage, you're playing, you're singing, you're doing all these things. What about it was enjoyable for you to the extent that you'd want to keep doing it?
I think just the crowd having people enjoy music because we were always playing for dances and stuff, and that's still something that I still kind of emphasize on to try to get people to dance has been the main thing. If people are dancing, then the music's good.
Yeah, very cool. Well, you mentioned earlier on that your family has deep roots in ranching and rodeo. Talk more about that.
Oh well, mom, she was Miss Rodeo America of '91, and then dad, he's been team roper champion for ages and all across. And then, of course, both sisters, they still rodeo and rope and everything. But I did it for a little bit and then realized it wasn't my thing.
Fair enough. Did you get any pushback for deciding to do music instead of rodeo?
Not really. It was just kind of like, because I tried it once. I tried rope and then I quit. Then I tried it again just to see, and then I quit again. I'm like, it's not my thing. We tried it twice here.
Yeah.
It ain't the thing.
Fair enough. Well, I can only imagine that that background and those roots have, for sure influenced the kind of music that you listened to growing up. What kind of music did you grow up listening to?
It was always older country, everything from Johnny Cash and Alan Jackson and George Strait, and it was always on the Twister. We'd be listening to it, and always something not much newer than about 2005.
Vintage, as the kids say.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. How do you think that has influenced your sound or where you like your sound to go in the future?
That's been the main thing I've always kind of stuck with there is just because I didn't want to have a real pop sound or a real rock sound. I always wanted to keep it really clean with a lot of twang.
Yeah, definitely. Um, in your own words, how would you describe for those who haven't heard your music, which will direct them for ways that people can find your music and listen to your new releases, but for people who haven't listened to your music before, how would you describe your musical style?
Well, with what we're pushing out now, it's real country and real music, real twang.
Very good. How would you describe your creative process? Like when it comes to songwriting or, just brainstorming, what kind of music you want to release? What makes you feel inspired for your next song or your next release?
Oh, a lot of it's just like, I mean, because I always got my favorite kind of beat or whatever, or something kind of, and then I just kind of go off of that or something if I want to, because I'll think of and start thinking of a chorus line or a tagline or something you can make a story out of, and then continue to branch off of it and push one more thought into it and another thought, and then put it all together, and then eventually you can have a song.
What has been the most fun song for you to write so far?
Probably our brand new one was always about a woman. Uh, Never got to write on it, but I was there when we were changing up the instrumental part on it, and we made it pretty much perfect. Of instantly my favorite song.
Awesome. Well, I want to talk more about the production side of things, but I kind of want to backtrack just a tad. At what point did you realize that music was something that you wanted to do full time?
I don't. It's because I played there for a while, and that was also while I was in high school and just doing everything else in high school, sports and everything that high school would bring. And it just kind of kept on bringing me in closer just to do a little bit more and a little bit more, and then kind of just started getting known as the musician there. And then it just kind of eventually just stuck with it. I was like, well, I guess if that's what I'm known as, I'll take it. So I'll ride with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it takes a lot of guts to take a sort of an unconventional path after high school where other people might be, entering the traditional workforce or going to college. Did you did what solidified that decision, I guess, for you?
Just hearing a lot of people, because I know I've had a lot of people come up and just say that they were proud they got to meet me. And that just, it hits really deep when it's someone who you know well. And then it just hits a lot deeper than what you'd think. And then you kind of realize it's like, maybe I should pursue with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, growing up in the Sandhills, people love music and they especially love to dance. What has the community support been like for you as you've pursued this in a more full time capacity?
It's been great, especially, I mean, when we play back up in kind of home country around there, around Gordon, Valentine stuff, it's always really good up back there because everybody kind of remembers that. It's like, because at first it was the new kid with the Twin River Band. Now it's BJ and the Twin River Band. And then, so that's why I like to use the old band name of having the Twin River Band backing me. And then just to kind of give a little nostalgia and memorabilia to Brett and having him in the band because he's just as important as anybody else.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, okay, so I want to break down more of the production side of your music. What all goes into producing a song for the radio or for a streaming platform? What's that process entail?
That's a lot of different media things because from the very beginning of it, you got to have a song first. And that's why we got hooked up with Dave Gibson from Nashville, a songwriter. And he's got just ideas and songs for years, pretty much. So he doesn't have enough, basically. I mean, there's just, he's just pooling with songs and doing that. And then you got to just get into a studio, figure out what song you want to do, which one you can kind of shine on, and then you get in a studio, you get a lot of the Nashville players there, and then they're just phenomenal as well. They can do whatever you ask them to pretty much. If you want it to do this certain thing at this part, they will do it exactly how you told them and better. And then just waiting to release it was a big part of it. Just you just kind of hype it up as much as you can. You just gotta put yourself out there is what it is. You gotta just kind of throw yourself to the wolves and hope you can come up. And
Sure.
till release day, you just wait and hope.
Hurry up and wait, I suppose.
Yeah.
Tell us about the first time that you went to Nashville and sat in the recording booth. What song did you record and what did you feel in that moment?
The first song we recorded there was The Note, and we put that one out a while ago, but it was it was really amazing just to see like because I mean you're in the same booth as what a lot of other large name billboard artists are on. I mean, we went and recorded at the historic Curb Studios where everybody from Tim McGraw and the Judds recorded in that same booth with those same guys, everything. So that was definitely like a kind of a bar level just to know where you're at and what you're kind of messing with.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've been staying pretty busy this summer playing at local fairs and festivals and things like that. What does the rest of the summer have in store for you?
Just wild and eventful because we go up to Spearfish here in a couple weeks for the bike rally up there, and Sydney this week, and Ashby this week, and North Platte. And so it's just kind of all across the whole state and other states.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have you gathered a bunch of groupies quite yet, or do you have people travel from show to show to come watch?
Yep, we've got a lot of people who've started to kind of run around with this. I know Casey Charles, she's done a lot of media stuff for us. She's gotten a lot of pictures, videos, and everything. So it's really good to have her there for a lot of stuff and
Mhm.
just kind of the same crew and team that still follows me around.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's not just as simple as putting out a song. You have all the production elements, and then you have to promote it and then continue to be relevant on social media, which is always an uphill battle. So, what ways do you try to connect with your fan base outside of your concerts and shows?
that's the main thing is a lot of just kind of social media stuff. You got to keep pushing new content out of there, whether and I'm always like, why do I need to do this? And they're like, no, you need to do something though. They're like, you need to have it. It's the same thing you just did. It's just at a different angle. But I'm like, all right. So but that's the main thing. Is just a lot of social media stuff and
Yeah,
getting that thrown out there.
awesome. Well, you mentioned earlier on that you taught your mom to play the bass guitar. I think that's pretty interesting. Talk about that process and how that sort of came to be.
Yeah. So that was while we were still with the Twin River Band, and I still couldn't drive. And when playing with them, I said that I could play bass, so I kind of started playing somewhat. I'd play halftime bass and then half the time would play guitar. And so eventually I know the leader Brett joked about saying like, well, you can teach your mom how to play bass. And so the joke turned into reality and went home and we started learning bass with her and then just took a while, but then eventually we got it to where she's confident enough to get on stage and still got a book full of notes there. She'd flip through and find exactly what song we're playing and then play right away with us.
That's super cool. I love that. Well, back to your music. What does your schedule look like? I know you've been playing a lot of shows, as we mentioned, but when it comes to putting out new music, how often are you going back and forth uh, to Nashville?
We've made most of our trips to Nashville early, just to kind of because we've got, I think, 5 four or five other songs there that we got pretty much locked and loaded down to when we need to, we will. A little sneak peek of an EP we'll be putting out there sometime late summer, early fall around that area, so we can have a full EP that we'll be putting out, and then have that for the rest of the year until we'll go back probably in we'll probably move back to Nashville late fall, winter areas, just to kind of in the slower region time to where we can have a little time to go down there for a week or so and then get stuff done instead of try to cram it into the schedule for the summer that's already
Yeah,
full.
for sure. Well, you've had a wide array of experiences both in the recording booth and performing live. What are some of the biggest things that you've learned since you started doing music full time?
Main thing is, I guess, don't try to follow and don't try to copy other people is what I learned. Like you can, it's great if you want to be like somebody, but that person has already made their mark and they've done their thing. Do something better, but do it how you want to. Do something like them, but better and how you want it to be. Something that I've done a lot of times. I always wanted to be just like Johnny Cash or like Waylon Jennings. Wanted to have just the same sound, same everything, and then it just like I'm like, no, I don't want to do it just like that though. I don't like that part. So you change it. You try to be yourself. Try to make your own sound is the thing. Try to make something that people can recognize you for. They hear a song and they go, "Oh yeah, that's so and so." Just, I mean, it's the same thing with you hear a slow fiddle, you probably know it's probably George Strait, and then it's just the same thing. You try to find something unique that you can make your own.
Yeah, very cool. Well, as you look ahead to the summer and even in the years to come, what are some goals that you have that you'd like to see be accomplished?
Oh, I'd like to see just, I mean, even with what we got going now with our brand new single out, it's really hitting a lot right now. So it's getting a lot of streams even as we speak. But just to kind of keep that rolling throughout the year, just to keep gaining and gaining a little more ground as the day goes by. You gain a few new people because right now we're just mainly focused trying to get a little more outside recognition outside of, excuse me, Nebraska. Kind of get into Kansas area, get a little into Wisconsin, Wyoming, stuff around there. So just get a little wider fan base.
Yeah. So, for people who haven't heard your music before, what's the best way for them to find that and how can they keep up with you?
The best way to find music is under any platform, YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, whatever it is, under BJ Jamison. And then you can also go to any of the socials you can just find it at bjjameson.com, and it'll take you to a whole website. You can find whatever social media you have, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anything on there. And then even from there, you can get to the music sites as well.
So we talked a little bit teasing your new single. Talk a little bit more about that song in particular and what you love about it.
Oh, Always About a Woman was always a just a cool song we had that Dave sent us, and he's like, "Yo, this would be a good one. It's got a really good just storyline to it and stuff." So I always liked it, and when we got in the studio, we were talking. We are like, "Oh, I want to make something really just a really stomping, drive, and something really driving that we can kind of get into." And I mean, they started it off. It almost sounded like it would have been a Waylon Jennings song just because of how the way I was like, oh yeah, you can really put some of this in there and then kind of just make it almost a beat you could walk to, just something you can just sit around and walk to it. And they started going on that, and I was even in the booth sitting there through the glass window. I was sitting looking out at everybody just in awe and such amaze. I was like, I love this so much. This is nothing. I mean, everything about it was perfect.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, BJ, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like people to know?
Not a whole lot. Just kind of keep. If you're not following, go ahead follow it at BJ Jameson Music. Is where you can find any of the socials at. and then you can keep up from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, BJ. Once again, that's BJ Jamison. He is a local Nebraska talent who is gaining more and more traction by the day, and we're excited to see where his music career takes him. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you.